Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silent to Listen podcast. Today, it is very exciting because we have Andy. Andy is a really good friend of mine and an inspiration as he is a man who supports men to be the best version of themselves. And you will get inspired by his passion, dedication, and love for his craft. He is also a co founder of men's group Kings of Hearts. In this episode, we chatted about his journey of becoming a coach, also his healing process from his traumas, and how this experience became his purpose to serve others. He also explained the differences between anxiety and depression, which are also related to mental health. He also shared how important breathing exercises and meditation retreats are to help us to overcome the anxiety and depression. So without further ado, let's dive in by introducing himself.
My name's Andy, born and raised here in Calgary, and I'm a man figuring it out in the world. And I'm also somebody who has the opportunity now to help other people, other men, along the way in their journeys, in their life. And I'm able to live a life of service from taking my own life experiences and helping other people with those lessons too. Helping them find their way, helping them become better versions of themselves. And yeah, that's a little background on me.
Nice.
I live part-time in Mexico, part-time in Canada.
Same profession? Same of work?
No, just this is more about life.
Okay,
Just like life.
I see.
I live part-time in Mexico, part-time in Calgary, and I'm also a Qigong teacher, recently certified,
Which is good thing.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll leave it there for my introduction.
Nice one. But how do you label yourself with what you've said? Is that like a life coach or a psychologist or what? How do you mention that?
Well, I'm not a psychologist, and I actually don't like to label myself.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like to be like, I am.
Why?
I like to phrase it more about what I do and how I help. You know? So instead of saying I'm a men's coach, I like to say I help men with their leadership.
Does it help you to introduce yourself to people of what your job is? Because for some people, they might get confused of. Actually, some people that I know that we have a common friend that, what is Andy's doing? What does he do? And for me, it's hard. I always say that he's a life coach because I think that's the easiest way to say it in a way.
Yeah.
But for you, I wanted to hear what is the easiest or simplify it.
Yeah, I would say the best line, and this might change over time. The best line is so let's say, for example, if anyone ever asks you, hey, what does Andy do for work? Instead of saying Andy's a life coach, you can say Andy helps men with their emotions. Andy helps men feel calmer and more confident. For me, that's more relatable when we speak it that way versus life coach. That can mean so many different things. Like, what is a life coach? You know, I like to go more specific about who I help and how I help and the person that I help. What am I helping them with?
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Do you label this as a work or a passion or your purpose?
Labor of love.
Labor of love.
Both. I wouldn't say either or.
Yeah.
It's something that I have a lot of passion about, and it's something that I get paid for as a job, a career.
Right. Do you get some questions by other people of if this is your passion to help others, but you charge it for this cause or whatever that is? How do you explain that? How do you explain, like, is it really is the intention of this is really to help others or is it to benefit yourself?
Again, same answer, both.
Both. Okay, I like that.
Both.
I think you're right because there's no difference of what you're doing to the high profession, like let's say a doctor or a lawyer. Yes, that's their passion, but they also have to do it for money.
Yeah, it's both. And, I feel like if it's one or the other, it'll be unbalanced. Like if you're just helping people for free and you don't have any other job on the side, and you're doing this for free, but then you're struggling financially.
Right.
You're helping people not from a good place. You're helping people while sacrificing yourself, right?
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of the extreme, if you're just helping people only for your own greed and gain, then you're not really helping them.
And it's not fulfilling.
It's not from a place of good feeling, and it's only transactional. So the opportunity is, how could you have both? How could you serve somebody in the most authentic, genuine way, and also know your own place in all of this as a job? But you need to make an income so you could live and you could pay your bills and all these things.
Right.
And I'll tell you something. Whenever I have a coaching client nowadays, whenever they send money for their payment, I look at them with a lot of gratitude, and I say thank you for exchanging your money for this service. And please know that your money that you're investing in, that I am receiving, it helps me with my food, with my transportation, with my travel. These clothes that I'm wearing, you are supporting me with that. And whenever I share it in that way, people feel so good knowing where their money is going to.
I like that.
So it's a win-win situation for them, and it's a win-win situation for me.
I like that.
I get to be of service, and I get to make money. They get to receive the service, and they get to know that their money is going to a place of helping another person too. So it's a win-win. Everybody wins.
Which just makes sense. Yeah. Like you both benefits on both sides. You give them your service, and you give what you earn, what you deserve. I like that. But how did you end up doing that? When did it start? Because prior to that, you were working in the restaurants as well. At the same time, you were doing your own businesses, which is prior to that as well. It was clothing. And then you transition to a bracelet businesses.
Yeah. How much time do you have? This might take 4 hours to.
But I mean, it's quite too far from what you're doing now. It's
very different.
And I think that it's not easy. It's not easy to jump into that.
Well, this might sound a bit cliche, but I would say that I didn't go looking for this job. It kind of found me.
In what way?
And what I mean by that is, I didn't know that this was something that was meant for me. Sometimes people ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? If you were to ask me that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I wouldn't know it. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'd be helping them with their leadership, their emotions, and their life, I wouldn't say that. I could not predict that. And that's why I say that I feel like it chose me, because there's been so many milestones and signs along the way that has said, hey, this is something you can step into, right? And I'll give you a couple of examples. One of those was the ending of my jewelry company, my clothing line.
Yeah.
So the end of that left me thinking, well, what am I here to do? What's going on? Why did these companies end? And so I didn't have an answer for that then, but now I look back, I'm like, oh, it needed to end so that this Kings of Hearts, coaching, all these things can come and be a thing. I could grow. I couldn't have both at that time. One needed to die for the new one to be born. Right? So that was one sign. Another sign is just what I was going through in my own life, my mental health, my you've seen a lot of it.
I've seen a lot.
You've seen me go through a lot of heartbreaks.
I do.
Right?
Business wise, relationship wise, everything. Yeah.
You've seen it, man. Yeah. So the heartbreak, the experience, the pain, that all came with that, allowed me to see that I could help someone else that is going through something similar too. Sometimes what you help people with is the thing that you went through 5 years before, or 6 years before, or 10 years before, or 20 years before, right? It was all the puzzle pieces were coming together, and it wasn't until I was in a men's group where the men in my group, they were telling me like, Andy, like, I think you should do this. Like, you'd be good at this, at the coaching.
Oh, the coaching, okay.
And the men's group.
So, do you remember who's that?
There's a bunch of guys.
Okay. But who influences you though? Who's your, yeah.
There's one man, his name is Ben Goreski.
Okay.
He is a leader of a different men's organization. He also has a podcast called The Evolving Man.
Oh.
Podcast?
Oh, I think I know Ben.
You know that one? Ben,
I follow him.
You do?
I do follow him, but I just know him because of you. But I didn't really get catch up of all this stuff. But yeah.
So Ben's a great friend of mine, and I joined his men's group back in 2019, and that those years for me was very, very healing for me, and he's been a big inspiration, for sure. Nice. He was one of the guys that said, "Hey, you're made to do this," but I didn't know I was made to do this. But sometimes it requires another person to see something in you that you do not see in yourself.
Yeah,
you see what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice story though. But I mean, I was wondering, how did you end up? Did you see this 10 years ago, or? But yeah, I
couldn't predict this, man. Like this was.
So you're saying all the experiences that you've done to your businesses and everything, it helps you to, all those heartbreaks as well. It helps you to apply it to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Like
everything.
Even going back to when I was young, teenagers, like making mistakes as a teenager, you know, those lessons also very valuable to talk to about today, to help other people going through something similar.
Nice. I like that. But how long do you think you will do that?
I don't know. That's not for me to decide.
Not for you to decide?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you see yourself for the next 10 years still doing the same thing?
Well, I would say I would love to. I would love to see myself doing this for 10 years, 15, 20 years. And I'm also open to things changing. I'm not clinging on to it.
And okay, I see.
You know, because clinging on to it creates more suffering, disappointment, misery. When you hold on to something like, no, this is mine.
It's like you limit yourself.
Yeah, you do. You know, like there's a practice that and it's something that I've learned along the way is care just enough, but don't grip onto something so tight. Like, no, I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
No, like maybe Kings of Hearts will end one day. Maybe my coaching will end one day. Maybe I'll do something different. Right? But to answer your question, would I like to do it for a long time? Sure. Yeah. But there's some things that are out of my control.
That's true. The universe is like, you cannot tell what's going to happen tomorrow, today.
The universe.
Well, the COVID pandemic, we didn't expect that.
Exactly. And the universe has our best interest in mind. That's a belief that I choose to believe, that it has our best interest in mind. But sometimes it looks like the best interest is the ending of something, which can hurt.
Yeah.
But it's still the best interest for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the ending of a relationship can be very painful, but it's for the best for both people. Do we know why in that moment? No, because the pain is right in front of our faces, right?
Like you're covered by those pain.
Yeah, we're just so close to so close to the situation. We're not able to see the bigger picture yet.
Yeah, but it's coming.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, like it happens, you know.
Yeah.
So how did it change you though?
How did what change?
Like the transition, everything. How does it change you as a person?
Oh man, that's a big question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, how did it change me? I would say that it's made me more compassionate for myself. I'm much more kinder to myself in my head and in my actions. I've also have more patience for myself and for life in general. I'm more trusting in life. As I spoke to you when you a couple questions ago, I said, I don't know. I can say that very peacefully.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't know.
I
worry,
see.
Right? So I have more trust in life and what it brings. I don't know the future, but I'm open to see what it brings to me.
Okay.
So I have more trust, I have more patience, I have more compassion, and I also have better boundaries from my experiences.
To yourself and to others.
To myself and to others, both. Yeah, I have stronger boundaries. I know how to say no. I don't want to be treated like that. Or I say no, I don't want to be at this job because this is not meant for me. Or like, no, I don't want to spend my time on my phone unproductively like this. Like having boundaries. Because I know that if I don't have boundaries, it drains my energy. When we don't have boundaries, it will drain your energy. Always. Right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
So like whenever somebody, for example, whenever someone that I help feels a drain in their energy, I always ask them, what boundaries do you not have for yourself or for others? Oh, you're feeling angry, frustrated, low energy? Why? What boundaries are you not holding? Oftentimes, our energy drain, our frustration, all those kind of like negative, lower vibration, is because we're not holding a certain boundary. And I don't even blame people because sometimes they don't even know what a boundary is.
Yes. Yeah.
People don't know sometimes.
Up to this day. Yes, I agree. And I like everything what you said. And also, if the boundaries and even the anxiety, mental health, they don't even know what it means up to this day. But compared before, like during 70s to 90s, even to our generations, those things is not a thing. You experience it, but you don't really know what it is coming from. But this time it's like a different generation. They are more aware of what the boundary is and what is anxiety, what is mental health is. But if that changed you in that way, how do you change other people?
Well, that's the thing. That's an interesting thing. Sometimes the very first step that helps the most is to bring awareness for people. You cannot work on something you're not aware about. So I like to help people by asking people a lot of questions. Bring new awareness to them. For example, how have you been feeling lately? Oh, I've been feeling sad. Okay, what's making you feel sad? Oh, my job. I'm not fulfilled at my job. I don't feel that it's the right place for me. Like, oh, okay. Do you think that's making you feel sad? Yeah, cool. Let's explore that a little bit. How long have you been in the job, and what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Sometimes people have never been asked that question before. What don't you like about it? What do you like about it? And then people receive that question, and then they can think, oh, you know what I don't like? I don't like the people there. But what I do like is I like my role. So maybe someone has never answered that question before. That's new awareness for them. So if they still like the job, but they don't like the people, find a new job in the same industry. Find new people. But you can still do the same thing, right? But if it's the other way around, if they said, oh, I really love the people, but I don't like what I do in my job, right? So that's a different exploration.
So you help them to figure it out, what's going on.
Yeah, we help them bring awareness. That's the first step. Awareness, number one.
That is one thing that I like about asking questions as well, like what you do as well, because you tickle or you poke their emotions and get into deeper level.
Yep.
And to understand what it is coming from.
Yeah, because I like what you said there. You got to go deeper, right?
Yeah.
What I like to say is, when people go to the doctor, okay, when they have a pain, let's say they feel a pain in their knee, okay,
yeah,
or let's say they feel a pain in their chest, okay, they come to the doctor. They said, I'm feeling pain in my chest. It's a symptom. The doctor will ask questions. How long have you been feeling the pain? Where have you been feeling the pain? What kind of pain is it? Is it aching or is it a sharp pain?
Yeah.
And then they'll ask like, what kind of activities have you been doing lately? What's your lifestyle like? And then they'll answer all these questions, and the doctor will listen. Like, okay, based on your questions, I think you have this, and this.
Yeah, similar to what you're doing.
So it's a similar process with coaching, with training in the emotional world. It's like the person will come to you with a pain. They don't know what's causing it, and then the coach or the person that's helping them will ask questions to help discover what's the cause.
Yeah.
And maybe that person that went to the doctor, they find out that, I'm not exercising enough. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. The doctor would say, you should exercise more. Right? The coach would also say, hey, let's come up with a plan so you can be accountable with your exercise. Similar. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm a doctor.
No,
but I'm using an example of helping people, supporting people, being of service, and not giving them the answer, but helping them find the answer within themselves by asking questions.
Okay.
Because I don't have all the answers. But I think the beautiful thing about my job is I help people. We get to go on a journey together. Right?
But that's the other way that the healthy way to ask questions, people, I think. Because like some people they get so offended when they ask by other people, especially like for me, I'm an introvert, so I don't like getting asked by people that I don't trust. So how do you get the trust? How do you ask people to trust you?
I don't ask people to trust me. I ask people to trust the process. Before I even accept somebody into my coaching practice, I make sure that they are in agreement with a few different things. One of them is, can you trust the process? Because if you cannot trust the process, then this is not going to work for you.
I see.
Coaching is not for everybody. It has to be, for me and what I do, it's very meticulous, man. Like there's a couple of different. I wish I had this is a whiteboard. I wish I had a pen. I could write it down. Number one.
Yeah,
we could do that next time.
Next time.
But one of them is trust the process, right? And what I mean by that is like you're going through a particular series of things on this journey, and it might not make sense to the mind. But there's a process to this. Can you just trust it from start to finish? Can you trust the universe? Right? It's a very important piece, trusting the process. I call it trust the process. TTP.
TTP, trust the process.
The other agreement that's very important is you have to show up to do the work. We can sit around and talk the whole time, but what are you going to do when you go back into your life? What are you going to do out there? Like, we're going to give you homework. We're going to give you assignments. You got to do breath work. For example, do breath work once a day. If a person takes that and doesn't do the breath work once a day, there's no progress. There's no results.
So there's some situation that you give all the sources, but there's something that you can't control.
Yeah.
Like if they don't do the process.
Sure. Yeah.
But do you question yourself when things didn't work of what you wanted that you expected?
Do I question myself?
Yeah. Do you question your skills to help others when it didn't work out for them?
I used to, but not anymore. Because I know that the responsibility is on them, and that I know that I did my part. Because I've learned now that nobody can save you but yourself.
Yeah.
I always say...
You get support, but not...
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I always say, I help you to the door, you have to walk through the door. I give you the map, and I'm going to go with you. You have to follow the instructions and the directions and go.
By yourself.
You got to go. Like, nobody can save you but yourself. And with that mentality, I never feel bad about if someone doesn't get results from coaching. Because we look at the ways that if someone doesn't get the results, I ask them, did you do the homework? A lot of the times it's no. Or I said, hey, you cannot be hard on yourself. If you're hard on yourself, you always bring yourself back to square one again. Like being hard on yourself is like taking a knife and stabbing ourselves. When we're trying to stitch up the wound.
Yeah.
And then you be hard on yourself, you're like,
Again.
It's like, dude, 2 weeks ago, we just stitched up your wound. You came back with an open wound. What happened? I was hard on myself. That's another agreement that I ask. Do not be hard on yourself. And if you find yourself hard on yourself, then you gotta change that real quick.
But it's something that it's not easy to do.
Of course, it's not easy.
It's
not easy.
It takes practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I say. It's simple.
Yeah.
Healing, growing, learning. It's simple, but it's not easy. And it doesn't get any easier. You just get bitter.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Right? Remember that line.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's not easy. Right? And it does not get any easier. You just get better.
Yeah. Life doesn't get easier.
No, you just get better.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You get better. You get stronger. You get more aware. Like, you can fill in the blank, whatever you want to use, word you want to use.
With the field that you've been doing, do you specialize supporting people, or do you make them aware with themselves mentally? It's both.
It's both.
Both.
It's both.
Yep. Okay, I see. Because how long you been doing this?
Well, I would say I've been doing this my whole life.
No way.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
I've always helped people with advice ever since early on, when I was like 19, 20 years old. I was always the deep guy. People always came to me for advice, my friends.
Yeah. So you've been like that
technically, I've been doing this my whole life.
Really?
But it's never been a professional thing until 2019.
But there was a time that you were trying to fit in.
Yeah.
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 So do you think you tried to please other people, or you changed yourself to fit in with other people?
Yeah, I did. When I was younger, when I was in my teens, when I was in grade 7 to grade 12, and maybe even a bit after that too, Yeah. But just because you're going through something in your own life doesn't mean you cannot help another person.
But do you know that in yourself, ever since that you like helping others?
Yeah, I think so.
You do?
I think, but I never put it into words. I never comprehended it.
You don't.
It always felt good to know that I gave a good advice. Or it always felt good that I know that my friends just hanging out with me, they felt better just hanging around me.
Right.
Because people have told me that in the past too. They're like, yo, like, I love being around Andy. You're so motivating. You're so inspiring.
Yeah.
I like.
And you are.
To know that, thank you.
Yeah.
And to know that I have that impact is like, oh, cool, Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. But last, one more thing is, I wanted to get into mental health.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I love mental health.
Because what you're doing it's also around mental health. Awareness, mental health. And mental health, it's covered the anxiety, depression, sadness, and everything, worries. How can you differentiate the anxiety and depression? Because some people, I still encounter people, or even a family member, who doesn't know what is the anxiety means. How will you know if you're having anxiety? What do you feel about that, and what do you think about it? How can you explain that?
An anxiety is like a feeling of not unsettled. Your anxiety, like, you're in your mind a lot. You're overthinking. A symptom of anxiety is overthinking. You're thinking. You're constantly in your mind. You're doubting. You're worrying. You're thinking about the past. You're thinking about the future. You're not present. Someone who is anxious is not present. They're always worried about something. And that could feel very ungrounded in your body. You could feel sweaty in your palms. You can. Some people who are very anxious, they do this. This, like, fidgeting.
Yeah.
That's a symptom of anxiety. Depression is like a really deep sadness, and you have a hard time waking up in the morning. You don't want to get on with the day. You just want to sleep in. You have a lot of negative thoughts about life in general, and it's more of a
deeper
you're
level.
In a state of depression. It's like more of a long-term thing, whereas anxiety is more like, I feel anxious in the moment.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get it.
That's how
I think it makes sense.
There's no right or wrong definition right now, but that's how I differentiate the two.
No, I like that. I also, it resonates with me because, like, sometimes it's confusing.
Yeah.
Because, like, in this generation, sometimes they're much aware now with the mental health. It's much open compared to before, and they misuse the word depressed.
Yes.
Which is I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. What can you say about that? Like those people who misdiagnose or
depression.
they self-diagnose themselves.
Yeah. Well, I would say that a lot of people, let's just put it this way. I think the opportunity for a lot of us is to become more emotionally aware.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're not emotionally aware, we cannot tell the difference between anxiety, depression, sadness.
Mm-hmm.
We're human beings. We will feel sad from time to time. But if you do not have an emotional awareness, you will mistaken a sadness
Mm-hmm.
for, you will mistaken I feel sad with I am depressed. Different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We can feel sad, like emotions are like, it's like weather, like it changes all the time.
It's all part of you.
It's all a part of ourselves.
Yeah.
But if you do not have emotional awareness, the moment you feel sad, you will be very hard on yourself for it. Mm-hmm. You will not know how to process it.
Mm-hmm.
And you will tell yourself all these stories about why you're sad, how you got here, how shitty life is, mm-hmm. how you get down this, you call it spiraling. You begin to spiral out of control if you don't have awareness, right?
Yeah.
And then you call yourself depressed.
How can you help other people like experiencing those anxiety or depressed? For people who doesn't have an access or doesn't know anyone where to go, what will you advise to those people?
Okay, so I would say it depends, like how severe, how intense your situation.
Let's say I'm having anxiety right now. Okay. What would you tell me?
Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Slow things down. A person who has anxiety is moving very quickly in their mind and their thoughts. They're very fast. I would say first thing is find ways to slow down in your life. Create some space for your life. Connect with your breath. Just breathe and just pay attention to your breathing. Okay. Slow down in life. Maybe if you're working a full-time job, maybe take a few days off. Just slow things down.
Yeah.
If you're working a shift job, take a couple shifts off. If you're setting up a lot of meetings and having a lot of commitments everywhere, cancel
them all.
Yeah,
just to
slow down and go in. Anxious people, they like to go all over the place.
Actually, I understand that because when I was younger, I used to work in a fast food. So I thought the adrenaline helps me to be productive. Yeah. I was chasing for adrenaline. I wanted to get stressed. I thought it has to be like that for me to work well. But now looking back, it actually makes me realize that it was anxiety. I was so anxious. I depend on it. I thought it helps me to do my work, but it's actually an opposite thing.
Yeah.
If you're more grounded, you're more mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're at the moment.
Yes.
To realize that.
Of course, which is the next thing I'll say is get around a really solid community. Because we help each other, Sometimes you see something in me that I cannot see in myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see something in you cannot see in yourself. We are mirrors for each other. Hanging around good people with good values, not just anybody.
Yeah.
Find a community of people who are doing the same work, who have the same desires to become more aware mentally, emotionally, right? And you help each other. There's this energy of let's move forward together as
support
a unit.
Each other.
You don't have to do this alone. That's one of the big things about mental health, depression, anxiety is find a community that feels good for you, that has people that are moving in the same direction as you want to go.
Yeah. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I see. What about now that the mental health is a big thing now? There was a thing that I've heard. It was a podcast as well too. They said in this generation they are more depressed because of the gadgets and everything, social media. So they are more prone to depression.
Yes.
But because they are much aware as well what depression is, what the anxiety means, or what the mental health is, do you think it's just add up to their awareness that they are aware of it compared to what we used to? Because before we were doing a self-medication of mental health, you know what I mean? We are having experienced it, but we just deal with ourselves. We don't have a source of that one, you know. Do you think being aware with all those I mentioned gives you more depressed? It makes you more
Oh,
depressed?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Well, awareness without action could lead to just staying the same or more.
For a long term.
For long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
But awareness is
a great start. Yeah, awareness is a good start. And having awareness is to just see, oh, that's my habit. Right? Oh, yeah, I just spent the last 6 hours on my phone on TikTok. Oh, dang, I'm aware of that. Just aware. And yes, I know what you mean. Sometimes you can be all aware of all these things. You're like, oh my God, I'm going down the wrong direction. No. Right?
Yeah.
It's like doom now all of a sudden.
Now you're aware, but you also have an action.
People would rather not be aware.
Yeah.
And just continue
doing the bad habit. Yeah.
So my thing is always around that specific. My thing is always, if you're aware and you find a way, find an action, find a path, right? Make some moves. Because if you're aware of all these things, but you're not doing anything about it, then all this awareness is going to pile up and you're just going to be hard on yourself. Right?
Yeah.
I learned this from a teacher. He said, you have 2 eyes. That's your awareness. Right? Guess what? You also have 2 feet. That's action. Right?
Yeah.
If you have eyes, but you don't walk, all you see, you just see, and you keep things in your head and you don't do anything, that'll be a problem eventually. You'll be out of balance, right? If you have 2 feet, but you don't have awareness, but you're blind, then you're doing too much, but going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So both are very important. They both work together, right? Eyes, awareness, feet, action.
Yes.
One without the other, eventually out of balance.
But yeah, since you mentioned that one, what about those people without, no offense, for those people who's disabled? Like those people who doesn't have a feet, or people who was born blind? What can you say about that?
Well, the eyes and the feet are just examples, though. That's figurative.
Yes.
You don't have to. You can be on a wheelchair and still take action in life.
Okay.
I see a lot of people. I was at MNP Center a couple months ago, and these people on wheelchair, they're playing tournament. They're playing a rugby tournament.
Yeah. Sometimes we were better than the people who are complete.
There's no
body parts.
There's no excuse.
Yeah.
I've heard a story about a blind man that climbed Everest. There's no excuse. And the eyes, when I talk about the eyes, awareness, I don't literally mean the eyes. I mean the third eye, the real eye, the mental eye, your thoughts,
Yeah.
You put your attention on your thoughts, not just what you see. But using these examples, the eyes and the feet, is a good way to tell people that, hey, you have you need both. You have the capabilities to use them. Yeah. And it's not literal.
Yeah. It's just an example.
Yeah. It's not
all right. Well, last time you were in retreat, meditation retreat. How was the experience?
It was a roller coaster ride.
Like how?
There were tough days, and there were days that were amazing. And I ended with a lot of gratitude, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it to others?
Yes, I recommend it to everyone.
What did it add you? What did you learn? What did you unlearn? Because last time we
have
spoke,
another hour?
Man, last time we spoke, you were like, I asked you if you were excited. You said you weren't, but you wanted to, something like that.
Yeah.
Is it the same answer?
About what?
Like, do you think it's gonna be exciting the next time you go there, or?
I don't think now that I'm on the other side of it, I don't think it's something to be excited about. No, it's hard. It's hard work.
It was really
it's not
hard.
Fun.
Really.
Yeah, but it's so deep and so impactful, right? And every time you do it, it's gonna be a different experience. So I wouldn't know what to expect the next time around.
So they do the session and the different there's a different experiences each day. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh no, it's the same thing every day.
every day, okay.
Yeah, there's slight changes throughout the 10 days, but mostly it's the same thing.
And how long does it last for each day? Like the meditation? Is it the whole day?
Well, I'll walk you through my day. I wake up at 4 in the morning. I sleep at 9 p.m. I wake up at 4 in the morning. And then at 4:30, I meditate until 6:30. 2 hours.
4:30. What time? 4:30 to 6:30.
2 hours meditation.
The evening.
In the
morning. Okay.
I sleep at 9, wake up at 4 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning till 6:30. Meditate 2 hours. 6:30 till 8, breakfast and break. 8 a.m. until 11, 3 more hours of meditation.
With a group.
With a group this time, exactly. And then 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. is lunch and break. 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. is another meditation. So an hour and a half. 2:30 until 5 p.m. is another meditation. So that's another 2.5 hours. 5 p.m. is you take another 1 hour break for tea time. And then 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. you have another meditation. And then 7 p.m. until 8:30 you watch a video course, the teaching. There's like at the end of every night there's a beautiful video they watch with this teacher speaking about life lessons. And then 8:30 to 9 you do another group meditation to close off the day. And then 9 p.m. you go back to sleep and you start over again the next day.
Oh my God. And what did you feel each day? Like what's
different?
Is it fulfilling?
Yeah, I had moments of fulfillment, and then I had moments of
boredom.
What am I doing here? I got to get out.
Yeah.
And there's another moments I have of boredom, and then another moment I had of peace, present peace in the moment, nature, and then I had other moments of grief and anger and frustration and sadness, and then another moments of being hard on myself. During, yeah, like dude, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's.
Did you work on your traumas?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But I didn't really work on it.
Or it's just you become aware.
I'm just more aware of it.
But
I was already aware of it. I'm just more aware of it now.
Okay. Did it help you to heal?
Yeah, of course.
By the group or by yourself?
Both. Both. But it's mostly by yourself.
By yourself.
Yeah, because you don't talk to anybody. It's a silent meditation, silent retreat. So you don't talk to anybody. You don't look at anybody. Everyone is head down, doing their own work.
Okay, but does it heal you?
It can. No, but you heal yourself.
You heal yourself.
Nothing is
they can't do anything. Yeah.
You heal yourself. That's what you're there to learn. You're learning a meditation technique that will help you heal yourself. Nobody can save you but yourself, remember. And this teaching says the same thing.
And because you experience all those emotions, it sounds like it's scary for me, to be honest.
It's scary for most people.
Yeah. But you still recommend it to people.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to your job, to your profession, to other people.
Yeah. I applied it before we started recording today. Hey, sit down and sit for 5 minutes and just watch your breathing. That's a part of it.
But you've been doing that for a long time, though. The breathing, the meditations.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of retreat as well.
Yeah.
All kind of retreats.
Yeah.
Does it really need to? Do people need to go through to those process just to be, let's say, a life coach or to help people, or they can do their own stuff to support others? Because for you, I've seen and I've heard a lot of training you've done before.
Yeah, it looks different for everyone, man. My way is different than someone else's way.
Okay.
And different than someone else's path. Yeah.
So
there's no one way.
I see. Yeah. But it helps you a lot, for sure.
To experience things.
To experience it and to apply it to your.
For sure. Yeah, I would say it helps a lot to experience many things. Yeah.
But for those people, you mentioned that the mental health is the retreat is for you can recommend it to other people. But what about those people who have a mental illness?
Yeah, then they will not be they would be,
You shouldn't.
because when you apply for something like that, they're going to ask you for your mental health background history, and you have to disclose honestly, and they most likely would not accept you, because if you have a very traumatic mental health problem, then you have to deal with that first, because sometimes these things can make it worse. And it would then it would interrupt other people's experience there.
So you get interviewed before you attend that?
I didn't get interviewed. They asked me a lot of questions.
Okay.
And then they go through your application and they said, this person looks like they are acceptable.
That you can can do this.
Yeah.
I see.
And the mental health issue is something really serious,
Yeah. And this is a kind of sickness.
Yeah.
It's a sickness, like same thing as fever and everything, like different kind of sickness. It's also part of sickness, but mentally.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I see. I think we're done.
Thanks for having me on the
podcast,
brother.
Thanks, man.
That was a good chat.
It was my pleasure.
Maybe I'll come back on.